You know, you'd never expect that, but hey,
No.
car manufacturing has gotten to a point where all phone manufacturers are looking at that, and Huawei's definitely not an exception. I think one of the things that's really important is really to understand the role of Harmony OS in the, in really in every part of Huawei's future strategy, and cars are definitely one of them. And
Yeah.
going after Tesla for that auto, for IDO M5 is going to be quite
Yeah.
interesting because it's going to run completely on the Harmony OS.
Right. So did they just develop this then when they knew that they were going to lose the US market? Did they just suddenly turn around and say, okay, we'll come up with our own operating system and, forget Android?
They had been looking at that since 2019, and they realized that was key. And taking a page out of Google and Apple, it was really important for them to actually use this as part of their strategy. And in fact, they've 150 million users now who have upgraded to the Harmony OS over time, and this was just released on June 2nd. So it's been some incredible adoption of that, but they also see this as part of every strategy. So,
well, you have to remember, don't you, that there is a problem for Huawei as far as the United States is concerned as a market now, but they're still hugely popular as a company in places like Europe and also Africa, right?
it is. I mean, why still a large company? I mean, they did about 71.5 billion in the first 9 months. They'll probably get the 100 billion in revenue, but there's some things. I mean, they spun off Honor, which was their low end of the smartphone market, and today, right, they're sixth in overall smartphone sales in China, right, losing to Vivo, Oppo, and Honor. But on the 5G front, they have 30.7% market share in China. But what we've seen is different. I mean, the new Huawei today is more humble, but it's even more determined to succeed. And also realizes partnerships are important to its success.
Yes.
And software is an important piece of its success. And going alone is not a strategy anymore for them.
And what is the MateBook X Pro? Is that their answer to the MacBook? Is that what it is?
It is on every run, whether it's a laptop or device, that's what it does. You see that also with the watches that they're putting together. The watches, this is really about having a full line of lifestyle products from computing and on.
Well, it is, of course, we think of it anyway, don't we, Ray, as a smartphone company. That's what I know they do lots of other things. I understand that. But they do have a new Huawei P50 pocket smartphone. Now, what is the early sort of consumer and industry reaction to that?
I think we have to look at Huawei as emulating some of Google's strategy, some of Apple's strategy, and also looking, right across at Xiaomi to see what they've done. This is a broader space. Just being a smartphone company isn't good enough. You don't want to end up like BlackBerry, and you don't want to end up like Nokia in the past. And you really do have to get into the world of software and services, and you also have to come up with new devices. Whether it affects you in healthcare or in automobiles, or it could even be about space in the future. So
what do you think of the P50 pocket phone? Have you any thoughts on it, briefly?
I haven't had a chance to test it, but from what I can see, it's taking the flip phone to the next level. And the screens are pretty impressive if you see what they've been able to do. On the P50, I mean, it's 40 megapixel, 13 megapixel wide, and it's pretty cool with the two little circles that represent their new phones and their new cameras.
So what about 5G then, and the launch of 5G and the possible bans that Huawei is facing?
Yeah, the challenge with 5G and the telecommunication operators, 5G bans by US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand have impacted Huawei sales globally. I mean, Ericsson and Nokia have benefited the most in Europe. But I think what we have to understand is Huawei is experiencing what most Western companies have experienced when their governments criticize China. From Disney to Marriott to the NBA, the government has exerted similar pressures, right, both publicly and privately. But Chinese companies are going to have to see more of that. I mean, they're going to have to be prepared when the world starts push back at China's policies, and this is the first of many actions like this, and more will come. Every action has its reaction. But I only hope for 2022 that the governments will ratchet down their pressures on private industry so that commerce can remain unfettered.